OTAs are about to enter a second week, and there will be nothing more definitive about any depth chart at any position at the end of this week there was last week. That's not going to stop me from bringing one up anyway today. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Longtime listeners will know I am not exactly timid in pushing for Jaylen Warren to get RB1 status in the NFL. So nothing that I'm about to say here should be interpreted as any sort of slight or doubt as to Jaylen's ability to be exactly that now that Najee Harris is finally and blissfully, in my view, out of this equation. That said, Kaleb Johnson was, of course, the team's second pick of this most recent NFL draft, a third rounder, 83rd overall, out of the University of Iowa, and there is a strong sentiment inside those four walls on South Water Street that they lucked out. They really lucked out by this kid falling. Why? Well, among other reasons, he's 21 years old. He's 6'1", 224, fully formed, unless I'm missing something and looking at him, bigger than either of the other two backs in the fold, Jaylen or Kenny Gainwell. And he comes from a program where he wasn't just expected to be the guy among the running backs. He was the guy among the football players. He started all 11 games at Iowa. He ranked 6th among all college players at the top level. 21 rushing touchdowns, had 2 others by way of passes. Ran for 1,537 yards on 240 carries. It's an average of 6.4 per carry, 128.1 per game, and this is the best number of them all. Because Iowa relied so heavily on the run, and in turn so heavily on Johnson, he would face 8+ men in the box 50.4% of the time. No other running back in the entire draft class did that more than 39% of the time. And yet, in spite of that, in spite of having so many theoretical tackles to break right up front, he still ended up with 28 runs of 15+ yards, 21 runs of 20+ yards, and 6 runs of 40+ yards, including one that he busted for 72. Now, what does that have to do with OTAs? Nothing. What does that have to do with the NFL? Somewhat, not much. You know, colleges are the minor leagues, the NFL is the major leagues. But I'm going to tell you 2 other things that have me thinking that it's not all that outlandish that even if Johnson doesn't start the season as RB1, and I'd really be surprised if he would, so I'm not trying to invent something here. One reason that he might be starting before long is that Arthur Smith values the wide zone or outside zone blocking scheme that Najee couldn't or wouldn't do. And Smith feels, rightly or wrongly, that Johnson is just perfect for it. It's not something that's imposed upon him. It's not something that he has to learn how to master. It's just a natural fit for his abilities and the way he runs the football. Awesome. Great. Here's another one. And actually, this is the one I'll tell you in advance. You can feel free to take this, crumple it up into a ball, and throw it in the waste can, because it might mean next to nothing. It might mean actual nothing. But I'm going to tell you that my own sense for this kid right now, and watching the way he's carried himself through minicamp for rookies and now a week of OTAs, this is an adult. This is a leader. This isn't anybody's follower. Not to suggest that he isn't respectful or anything like that. Far from it. Far from it. He's carried himself with immaculate class. I just mean there's something about his body language, even the way he speaks, where you can tell he's in control. He has that own self-sense of self-worth, while at the same time seeing and appreciating that he's in a team context. Okay, cool. Did you throw that one? Okay, did you throw that one away? All right, you didn't? All right, well, listen. I'm going to make sure you throw the next and final assessment of mine into the waste can, because this one is just totally worthless, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. At the end of the rookie mini camp, meaning the actual end, like they're all done out in the grass, they posed for a giant quote-unquote team photo of everyone who was there. That means everybody who was drafted, all the undrafted rookies, free agents, in some cases tryouts. And there's around 40 or 50 of them there, okay? And kneeling at the front of the pack, and dead center is Mike Tomlin. And almost everyone else is either kneeling up front or standing in the back, except for one player. Kaleb Johnson does one of those slides, lying down sideways in the grass that you'll commonly see in the post-Stanley Cup celebrations on the ice, where there's one or two guys that just come sliding in. There's one player, who did this. It was Kaleb Johnson. Both he and the head coach are absolutely beaming in this photo. There, take that one and throw that one away. When we come back, J1Q. Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents injured people in automobile accidents, workers' compensation cases, and medical malpractice claims. The attorneys at Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George pride themselves in doing what they say they're going to do. It's important to them that when they make you a promise, they keep that promise. And this law firm has been keeping promises for over 80 years. Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George has been AV rated. That's the highest rating a law firm can receive for legal ability and ethics. And the lawyers at the firm have been designated super lawyers, that's a real thing, for over 15 years. Rare combination there. Luxenberg, Garbett, Kelly & George has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them at lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. Again, that's 888-842-5454. Today's J1Q comes from Jake, who says, DK, we know you prefer Mason Rudolph over Aaron Rodgers. You feel that way because you think Mason gives the Steelers a better chance to win more games this year than Rodgers? Or do you share my stance, which is that Rodgers gives the team a better chance to win more games this year than Mason, but not enough games to seriously contend in the playoffs, so I'm in favor of not paying Rodgers and playing Mason to get a higher draft pick and make it easier to draft the quarterback of the future in next year's draft here in Pittsburgh rather than another season slightly above 500, Jay. In addition to loading your question for me here, you took this way, way, way too far. Let me first seize upon the moment to throw out once and for all that any of you who would have ever accused me of being critical of Rodgers or not wanting Rodgers around because of his politics, let's just say that after this past weekend, any such argument will be dead and buried forever. Regardless of which way you happen to lean politically, it couldn't be clearer now that both of these quarterbacks happen to stand on the same side of the figurative aisle. As for all of your many added phrases to the longest single run-on sentence that's ever been posed here as a question, my answer is no to every single thing that you laid out there. My answer, and it has been consistent from the beginning, is that I want the Steelers as an organization to have the best possible chance to find their quarterback of the future. Within that, I'm also of the opinion, and there are those who disagree, that Rudolph could and arguably should have a chance to be in that mix in 2025. Why? Plain and simple, over the past half decade, we've seen pretty much 4 total games of good quarterbacking. All 4 of those were with Rudolph. I'm exaggerating a bit, but you get the point. Moreover, he's trusted in his environment, he's respected in his environment, and the coordinator, the offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, happens to believe that he can be a fine fit for what it is that Smith hopes to achieve offensively. All right? And there are other examples out there of guys who were never, ever, ever supposed to be anything more than a backup until they finally got a real chance. Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, the list is a whole lot longer than that. You get the idea. That's it. It really has not had much to do with Rodgers, except that Rodgers is going to turn 42 in December. And as such, he has a 0.00% chance of being that quarterback that I'm describing. So if Mason gets a shot this fall, maybe it doesn't work out. Will Howard gets a shot somewhere along the way. You're finding out. You're learning more. There are very few instances where a team goes searching for a franchise quarterback and doesn't have to go through more than 1 or 2 to get the right answer. Repeating myself, Rodgers has no chance to be that answer. I've shared all of this before, but I'm okay repeating it, and I appreciate the opportunity to do so because, my, does it ever end up getting sprayed all over the place. I appreciate you, Jake. I appreciate everybody who listens to Daily Shot of Steelers. Don't forget that today at 4 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have a new and live double shot of Steelers. That's our every weekday video program that we do on YouTube and, of course, on our own app and website, DK Pittsburgh Sports. Hope to see you then.